Welcome to Stoic Daily Stoicism. In today's video, we're diving deep into one of the most misunderstood psychological dynamics in relationships. What really happens when you stop chasing her? Most men think walking away is the end of the story. That silence means everything fades. But the truth is far different. When you stop chasing her, you don't create peace, you create a quiet war. Not between you and her, but inside her mind. Her thoughts spiral. Her confidence shakes. Her certainty begins to unravel. And in that space of silence, obsession is born. Today, I'm going to walk you step by step through the hidden, psychological chain reaction that happens inside her when you stop chasing. By the end, you'll see that silence isn't weakness, it's power. Let's begin. Step 1. She questions her power. Very first thing that happens when you stop chasing isn't about you, it's about her. She looks inward. The silence you give her isn't neutral, it feels like rejection dressed in disguise, a verdict without words. And that subtle rejection stings more deeply than open conflict because it leaves her with no script to respond to. She's spent years refining her femininity. She knows how to attract attention without begging for it. She's built an image designed to be magnetic, irresistible, captivating. And in her world, men have always validated that image by chasing. But when you step outside that script, when you refuse to play the role of pursuer, something cracks. Her mind doesn't go quiet, turns against her. She starts doubting herself. She wonders if her charm has lost its edge. She replays your last interaction, dissecting every word, every smile, every glance. Was she too cold, too available, too sarcastic, too eager? This isn't just about missing your texts. It's about missing the proof that her power still works. And when that proof disappears, insecurity creeps in. She begins to suspect she may not be as irreplaceable as she thought. For women who've built their confidence on their ability to draw men in, your silence isn't just confusing, it's threatening. It shakes the very identity she's constructed. It forces her to ask a question she's not used to asking. What if I'm not enough? That's the start of the war within. Step 2. She becomes the observer when you stop chasing. She doesn't just move on. She shifts into observation mode. Outwardly, she may seem cold or detached. But behind that mask, she's watching closely, silently, intensely. Every little move you make becomes data. Every delay in your reply, every choice not to like her story, every decision to remain silent, it all becomes a puzzle piece she's trying to put together. Why? Because mystery is magnetic. When a woman can predict a man, her curiosity fades. But when you become unreadable, you transform from just another player in the game into the puzzle she must solve. She begins to study you the way a detective studies a suspect. Not just what you say, but what you don't. Not just your presence, but your absence. She looks at how you carry yourself without her validation. She notices who you spend time with, where your energy goes, and what captures your attention in her absence. And here's the paradox. The more you refuse to chase, the more space you occupy in her mind. Your silence doesn't erase you, it amplifies you. Step 3. She assumes you have options. A powerful shift happens next. When you stop chasing, she doesn't just think you're busy. She assumes you've redirected your attention elsewhere. Her mind whispers, he must have someone else. He must have better options. This thought eats at her because it transforms your silence from something passive into something threatening. Suddenly, it's not about your distance, it's about the possibility that another woman has taken her place. Even if no one else exists, she starts competing with ghosts. She imagines rivals smarter, softer, more alluring than herself. She creates comparisons in her mind. And those comparisons sting more than anything you could ever say. This insecurity pushes her into performance mode. She posts strategically. She dresses to attract. Coup. She crafts captions designed to be noticed, not because she's happy, but because she's competing. With the invisible woman she believes has captured your focus, your absence increases your value in her eyes. Because you're no longer the man who begged for her attention, you're the man who had the chance to and chose not to. And in her world, that scarcity equals power. Step 4. She tests you quietly. Now comes the phase that many men mistake for indifference, but it's actually testing. She won't always confess her thoughts directly. Instead, she designs subtle scenarios to measure your reactions. A delayed reply, a vague post, a sudden burst of silence, even a flirtation with someone else. None of this is random. It's choreography. A series of small experiments to see if your detachment is genuine or just an act. She's asking silently, will he break? Will he fold? Will he chase me if I pull back harder? These aren't acts of cruelty. They're acts of insecurity. She wants proof she still matters, proof that her presence still lingers in your mind. And here's the truth. If you cave too quickly, if you rush back into her orbit, she wins not the relationship, but the control. But if you remain calm, composed, unshaken, the test flips. It no longer measures you, it measures her. She begins to see that her old tricks don't work, that her influence isn't guaranteed, that her power may not be as absolute as she believed. And that realization cuts deeper than rejection. Step 5, she fears losing control by now. Something deeper has set in. She's no longer just curious or insecure. She's afraid of losing the one weapon she's always trusted, control. For years, she's used subtle gestures to sway men. A raised eyebrow, a delayed response, a carefully timed silence. These little acts gave her a sense of authority without ever seeming forceful. But when none of it works on you, she feels something she doesn't know how to handle. Helplessness. That helplessness doesn't show up in public. She won't cry openly or confess her panic. It shows up in private moments when she refreshes her screen, waiting for a message that never comes. When she stares longer in the mirror, wondering if she's losing her edge. When she scrolls through her past, comparing how easily she once commanded attention versus now. And in those quiet moments, she realizes the truth. Your independence has broken her script. You're living without her validation. And that terrifies her more than any insult or rejection could. Step 6. She rethinks her own value. This is the stage no one talks about. When you stop chasing her, she doesn't just question you. She questions herself, her worth, which she once measured through attention, now feels unstable. She starts to wonder if all the compliments, all the past relationships, all the moments she believed confirmed her value were conditional. Your silence becomes a mirror, and that mirror doesn't flatter her. It forces her to see herself without the applause. She replays every interaction with you, wondering why none of it was enough to pull you back. She questions her beauty, her intelligence, her charm. Not because she's lost them, but because they no longer control you. That's when doubt takes root. Quiet, invisible doubt. The kind she won't share with her friends. The kind she masks with posts about thriving. But inside, she feels something unraveling. The image she built, the powerful, magnetic, untouchable version of herself suddenly feels fragile. And it all began because you refused to chase. Step 7. She secretly respects you. Here's the hidden irony. While she struggles with insecurity, fear, and doubt, she also feels something else. Respect. Because deep down, she knows most men don't have the strength to walk away. Most men cave under her silence. Most men scramble for scraps of attention. But you didn't. You chose composure over desperation, peace over performance, self-respect over validation, and whether she admits it or not. That sets you apart. Even if she never comes back, even if she never confesses it, she will remember you as the man who didn't fold, the man who broke her pattern. the man who forced her to face herself. And that kind of impression lasts far longer than any chase ever could. Closing message, gentlemen. Remember this. When you stop chasing, you don't lose her attention. You force her to confront her own reflection. You make her question the very tool she once used to define her worth. Your silence isn't emptiness, it's presence, strength. It's proof that you've mastered your emotions instead of being mastered by them. So don't fear the quiet. Don't fear the distance. Let her wonder. Let her rethink. Let her feel the weight of what she once took for granted. Because when a man stops chasing, it's not the end of the story. It's the beginning of a new one. One where you are, no longer waiting to be chosen because you've already chosen yourself.